Hello, it's Friday, the 20th of February. You're tuned in to our late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's great to have you with us on this final day of the Lunar New Year holiday. I'm Mark Broome. Now, the Lunar New Year holiday is practically over, bar the weekend. Millions of Koreans have spent the last 3 days travelling back to their hometowns and paying their respects to their ancestors and elders. One of the ways people in Korea do this is by preparing food such as Tteokguk, or rice cake soup, which Koreans eat to mark the fact that they have turned 1 year older. Events have been held around the country for Koreans, expats and tourists to enjoy the traditional aspects of the Lunar New Year holiday, from the food to the games families play over the holiday period. Now, in regards to the situation on the nation's expressways, and the main routes back into Seoul are running fairly smoothly at this hour. The estimated travel time from the southern port city of Busan to the capital currently stands at 4.5 hours. From Gwangju in the southwest, it'll take you the same, while from Gangneung on the east coast to Seoul, it will take you a very reasonable 3 hours. Real-time traffic information can still be found, however, on roadplus.co.kr. Now, North Korea is not the most common travel destination for tourists, while the country remains closed to foreign visitors due to Pyongyang's concerns about Ebola. Recent photos taken by tourist providers with a rare view into the daily lives of ordinary North Koreans. Our Hwang Sang-hee reports.
Take a quick look at Pyongyang's skyline, and it seems like just another modern city. These plush skyscrapers are believed to have been built about 3 years ago. Propaganda posters idolizing Kim Jong-un are plastered almost everywhere. A reminder that this is North Korea. On the streets are new electric buses and Japanese-made cars. A line of commuters heading to work in the morning is another familiar scene. Traffic girls are a popular icon among tourists, so popular that traffic girl dolls are sold as souvenirs. Mom-and-pop stores are dotted around Pyongyang's residential areas. Some of the goods on sale include fake South Korean snacks. A bottle of Pyongyang soju will cost you less than $1. A bottle of brandy goes for 30 times that. And takeout food is just too costly for the average North Korean worker. Leaving the hustle and bustle of the city and heading into the countryside, the wealth gap is instantly noticeable just from the way people dress. Children observe foreigners with their innocent eyes, curious yet wary. Students packed on the back of a pickup truck are all smiles as they make their way to school. Down by the stream, some people wash their clothes, while others give themselves a scrub. The faces of the farmers reflect their tough day-to-day lives. These rare photos serve as a window, offering a peek into the world's most closed state. Hwang Sang-hee, Arirang News.
Now, residents in northern Australia are dealing with the aftermath of 2 major cyclones that ripped through their towns. In Queensland, Cyclone Marcia, which rose to the most powerful Category 5, slammed into residential areas, destroying homes, uprooting trees and cutting power to thousands. Emergency personnel worked to evacuate homes and warned people to stay indoors if possible. Another storm, a Category 4 cyclone Lam, hit remote areas of Australia's Northern Territory and has cut communication there. Now, the damage is being assessed as we speak and is predicted to be severe, as you can tell by the video there. There have been no reports of deaths or injuries as of yet, though. Australia's weather agency says the worst is over, but they are warning that heavy rains and flooding will continue for the next several days. A major offensive is being prepped to oust the extremist Islamic State group from one of its strongholds in Iraq. A US official says well over 20,000 Iraqi and Kurdish troops will be used to liberate Mosul, which has been under Islamic State control for around 9 months. Connie Lee has more.
It's a major plan to retake an Iraqi city from the militant group that calls itself Islamic State. An unnamed official from U.S. Central Command says a joint Iraqi-Kurdish military force of up to 25,000 soldiers backed by U.S. forces is being prepared to retake Mosul from the extremists. The militants, weakened in recent weeks, have been dealing with airstrikes like these over the past few days. The combined joint task force said 15 airstrikes were conducted between Wednesday and Thursday on Iraqi cities, including places near Mosul. The plan to retake Mosul is currently being readied for sometime in April or May, according to the U.S. official. This is before Ramadan, which starts in June, and before the summer heat becomes problematic. The U.S. official says all fighters will be trained by U.S. forces before taking on the estimated 1,000 to 2,000 IS militants controlling the city. According to Reuters, Iraqi security troops will make up the primary attack force, while Kurdish troops will approach the city from the north. Mosul, Iraq's second largest city of more than 1 million residents, fell into IS hands last June. If the plan is successful, experts say it will deal a crushing blow to IS, which calls Mosul the capital of a self-declared caliphate. Connie Lee, Arirang News.
The ceasefire agreement between Ukraine and Russia is all but history as the boom of explosions and crackle of gunfire continues to ring around eastern Ukraine. The renewed fighting further violates a truce that was supposed to have come into force last Sunday, as pro-Russian rebels captured the strategic eastern Ukrainian town of Debaltseve on Thursday. One of their leaders has claimed that his forces had killed hundreds of Ukrainian troops, but nothing has been confirmed by Kiev as of yet. Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko has called for the deployment of UN peacekeepers to monitor the ceasefire, but there appears little international appetite for that. The war in eastern Ukraine has killed more than 5,500 people and forced over 1 million from their homes since fighting began last April. Now, new satellite images show China's efforts to build several new military outposts on top of a reef in the South China Sea are beginning to take shape. Pictures released by research company Jane's Defence shows the dredging and sand reclamation over the last year around the Spratly Islands has created a 75,000 square metre island with 2 piers, a helicopter pad and what looks like an anti-aircraft tower or radar facility. Now, the Spratly Islands are surrounded by fertile fishing grounds and rich oil and gas reserves. US officials worry the build-up indicates a Chinese push to establish de facto control over the waters and islets also claimed by the Philippines, Malaysia, Taiwan, Brunei and Vietnam. Very important talks in Brussels today are expected to lay the path for Greece's future as the South European country renegotiates the terms of its massive financial rescue package. Other countries aren't so sure, but Greece says it thinks all the conditions are in place for a mutually beneficial solution to the issue. The latest crisis centres on a bailout worth more than $195 billion, but that deal is due to expire next Saturday, February 28th. Athens wants the loans to be extended for 6 months. In exchange, the new Greek government has offered concessions such as curbing spending and agreeing to being supervised by international institutions. Today's meeting is the Eurozone's third attempt to reach a deal to manage Greece's debt, and a decision has to be unanimous. Now to some health news that should make people who like eggs and reasonable portions of red meat happy, because it turns out that cholesterol isn't as bad as we used to think it was. This was just one of the key findings of a new report out Thursday by US medical and nutritional experts. The Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee says cholesterol is less of a concern, but sugar should be limited to 200 calories a day. It recommends a diet higher in plants, fruits and grains because not only is it healthier, but it has a lower environmental impact compared to the current meat-based diet in the US, at least. The panel also backed moderate coffee drinking for the first time. These findings will be considered in the US Dietary Guidelines for this year, which determines everything from school lunches to food package labels. Now, back here in Korea, and extended holiday periods like the Lunar New Year are the ideal time to indulge in some cultural activities. And we've been introducing you to a few different things over the past couple of days here on Arirang News. But today, our Park Ji-won is going to tell us about a few photo exhibitions worth checking out over the weekend. So why don't we take a look?
This exhibition is a love letter to planet Earth. Acclaimed Brazilian documentary photographer Sebastião Salgado introduces us to some of Earth's most unspoiled regions and life with over 200 pictures.
We went to see the planet. We did a kind of love letter to the planet.
The 71-year-old traveled to more than 120 countries over an 8-year period to take pictures for his exhibition.
We will not survive if you don't come back to our planet. We are nature. We are an animal.
The exhibition, which opened in mid-October, was supposed to end in mid-January, but thanks to rave reviews, it has been extended until the end of February. Over 250 photos by late French photographer Henri Cartier-Bresson, who is considered the father of photojournalism, are also being exhibited in Seoul. Photos from the 1930s to the late 1990s, mostly of landscapes, are also being displayed, including works never before seen in Korea. The Cartier-Bresson exhibition is the largest to be held in Korea since the legendary photographer's death in 2004. Park Ji-won, Arirang News.
Lots to see there. Now, before we go, taking a brief look at the weather, and we've got a relatively mild late February night in store, with the overnight low only dipping to 5 degrees Celsius here in Seoul. Saturday will start off overcast, but rain is in the forecast for the central region from around lunchtime. Sunday, the final day of the long holiday break, will be sunnier, but it's going to be a lot colder than today. Finally, let's take a look at the weather conditions around the world. Well, that's all we have for now. Lots more stories on our website, and enjoy what remains of the Lunar New Year holiday. And if you are making a trip back to Seoul over the weekend, please do drive safely. Goodbye.